Good morning, everyone. If you can go ahead and take your seats, we'll go ahead and get started. I'd like to thank you all for being here today, kicking off our Water for Food Global Conference. I'm Frances Hayes, Director of Marketing and Communications here at the Doherty Water for Food Global Institute, and I'm pleased to welcome you to our 10th conference, so quite a milestone. Okay. They're telling me I'm short, is what is happening. So we have over 400 people registered for this conference, which I think is a record for us, throughout the U.S. and around the world to explore exciting ideas, projects, processes, products, and innovative ways to improve water and food security amidst an ever-changing landscape. This event is made possible through the generosity of the Robert B. Doherty Foundation and our generous sponsors. Please stop by their booths as well as our exhibitors during the breaks to learn more about those. They're located outside of breakout rooms B. I also invite you to visit with our students that are participating through a poster competition. Those are also on the ground level. If you find A and B, you'll just head all the way back there, and there's a hallway probably where you walked in that you can find them. You can vote within our conference app until 4:30 today, and there is a cash prize for those students that win the People's Choice Award. It should rotate here with our conference app QR code. I encourage you to download our app. It has detailed information about our speakers and our conference sessions. So you should have received an at-a-glance program that has the basics about our conference, but this app will tell you a whole lot more. So, and also I wanted to note that if you would like to access Wi-Fi, it's on the back of your name tag here. And with any questions that you have, you can visit our registration booth, and they're happy to help you out with that. To save time for presentations and discussions, we're just going to do brief speaker introductions during the sessions, but again, you can find all that speaker information in that app. If you don't have time to ask all your questions today, you can contact speakers within that app as well if you'd like to connect with them. In all our sessions, we'll have microphones available for audience questions, but you can also pose those within the app if you don't want to get up and use the microphone. Either way, we'll try to take best advantage of our discussion times. So that's enough of the housekeeping details for today. It's now my honor to introduce President Ted Carter of the University of Nebraska.
Well, good morning, everybody. Come on, you've all had enough coffee already. You're probably awake by now. That's good. I know we've got people who have traveled all over the world to be here for this incredibly important conference. My principal duty here this morning is to say welcome and kick the conference off. I'm going to spend a little bit more time than just that, though, to give you my own personal perspective of why this is so important. First off, though, I do want to say on behalf of the entire University of Nebraska system, as the system president here, I want to say welcome to all of you for our 10th Global Water for Food Conference. I want to also say special welcome to those of you who are coming to Nebraska for the first time. As has already been pointed out, this is one of the largest attended global conferences that we've held, to have over 400 people signed up, and I know we're live and online for those that are watching us from all over the world. It's great to see everybody here because this is such an important topic on so many fronts. The University of Nebraska stood up the Doherty Water for Food Institute 13 years ago with a simple mission: to create a more water and food secure world. Now, I have to give a big shout out to my good friend, mentor, J.B. Milliken, who's here with us today. J.B. was the president of the university system when this institute was stood up, and J.B.'s been on a long journey since then, and currently the president of the University of Texas system, and he's taken special time out, and he still serves on our board, and it's amazing to see his vision and now move forward over these 13 years. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, we are a multi-campus system here at the university. Obviously, we are here at the flagship University of Nebraska-Lincoln. We have a metropolitan campus at the University of Nebraska at Omaha, a world-class medical center in Omaha, and a rural campus out in Kearney. That's important to know because a lot of what we do here starts with building the right partnerships and the right places to bring the very best minds together around the table to solve this challenge. After all, we recognize this is not something that just the University of Nebraska alone can solve. It's going to take all of us working together. Now, I'm just going to pause here for a second because I know a lot of you don't really know me personally. I know my bio is somewhere buried in research material if you want to go look at that. I'm in my 4th year here as a university system president. Prior to coming here, I served in the United States Navy for 38 years. If I were to go back and look at my career in the Navy and how many times I deployed, mostly on aircraft carriers, I circumnavigated the globe about 25 times in the oceans of the world. I got to see the world through that lens, 71% of the world covered by water, and I got to see it from just about every corner, every angle. When I think about how we are thinking about defining this problem, with so much water surrounding the world, you would think that water would not be an issue for us. I mean, after all, the United States Navy has somewhat mastered the way to take salt water and turn it into fresh drinking water for many, many years. But yet, of that 71% of water that surrounds the globe, only 3% of water that's available to all over the earth is drinkable or fresh water. And of that 3%, most of that is in the glaciers of the world. In fact, only about 1.3 of the fresh water on our planet is available in surface water or being able to drink. Now, I'll go back even further in my young life. Before I even went to the Naval Academy, when I was in a small town high school in Rhode Island, not too unlike many towns here in Nebraska, I actually worked in the State Water Laboratory. Now, you won't find this in my bio. In fact, very few people, and none of this is even known to most of my own folks here. In the state of Rhode Island, like many places here in the state of Nebraska, people count on their own well water for fresh drinking water. And at the time, we were working diligently every spring to test the well waters all over that small state of Rhode Island. And at the meantime, while I was a budding high school junior, I was working on a science project that was inspired by a biology teacher to look at freshwater Daphnia and how I could put them in fresh water to measure pollutants. And I ended up taking that science fair project all the way to the International Science Fair, discovered some things about water Daphnia that are still being explored today, and how they actually can predict water pollutants to include nitrates, and ended up getting to go to the Naval Academy because of some of that work. Little did I know, some 45 years later, I would be in charge of a major university system that is so closely connected to this topic. So it's been in me since I was a youth. And then I got to see it from the Navy side. And as I talked about this percent of fresh water that's available, and when I actually interviewed for this job, I did get some questions about why a 38-year serving Navy admiral would want to even come to a state that's triple landlocked like Nebraska. I did point out that there are nearly 80,000 miles of river here, not the most in the country, but right up there. It also is a state that sits on the largest by volume aquifer in the world. And that's a great place to think about how water supports what we do here in the state of Nebraska. So Nebraska is an important part of this conversation. It is the epicenter of our country, not just in agriculture, but what we can do and what we think about with water. And I'm really, really proud of the fact that this institute has been started here and that we now all come together here in the state of Nebraska to talk about this very important topic. Most experts in the world will tell you, because of that roughly 1.3% of fresh water that we have as surface groundwater or fresh drinking water, will likely dry up by the year 2040 if we don't change our behaviors. I mean, that's a call to action. And I think that's why we're all here. And if we don't think about anything else today, that stated problem is a call to action. And although this will be a great conference, there'll be a lot of collegiality, there'll be some great speakers, all of us should have a bias for action as we work towards how we're going to make the most out of the water that we have to produce the food that we're going to need to feed 10 billion people by the year 2050. That's what we're here for. Now, I will tell you that in the 13 short years that the Doherty Institute has grown into a global entity that together with our partners is making a real difference in addressing water and food security. I'm just going to give you a couple examples. Working with our University of Nebraska Medical Center and the Institute of Agriculture and Natural Resources, we are tackling the public health challenges associated with water and climate in Nebraska and around the world. We have worked with farmers in Rwanda to help them take advantage of not one growing season, but today 3 growing seasons to increase food production and income, a potential blueprint for other countries that can make a dramatic difference in world hunger. We are deploying new technologies to help farmers improve their water use, like a tool that allows growers to apply the exact amount of irrigation water that their crops need when they need it to maximize yields and minimize water waste. And we have built a strong global network of partners, from scientists to government agencies to farmers and ranchers to business leaders and nonprofits, all working together towards solutions. For example, I'm excited about our partnership with the government of Mato Grosso, Brazil, to map water uses and create a plan for future water use. These are the types of mutually beneficial and scalable efforts that are possible when we bring our collective resources to bear. And we are pleased that the governor of Mato Grosso, Mauro Mendes, is here with us, and we're looking forward to him speaking to us later today. So while we're proud of what we have achieved together, as I said, there is much more to do. The fact is that the global challenge of water and food security has only grown more urgent and more complex in the time since the Doherty Institute was formed. We are making progress, but too many people around the world still do not have enough to drink or eat, and this is an enormous challenge, an economic challenge, an international security challenge, and dare I say, a moral challenge. That's why water and agriculture are among the very highest priorities of the University of Nebraska system. As a university, we can't afford not to be fully engaged on this issue. The task is significant, but I'm confident that together we can deliver solutions that will improve the human condition around the world. Looking forward to this conference and all the new connections and new ideas that are going to emerge here over the next couple days. I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for your partnership, not only with everybody here in this room, but particularly with the University of Nebraska. And thank you for all you are doing to ensure a more water and food secure world for the future. Again, thank you for being with us. It is now my pleasure to introduce the Executive Director of the Doherty Water for Food Institute, Dr. Peter McCormick. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ted. Thank you, Francis. And thank you all for being here. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Nebraska, to the Nebraska Innovation Center here in Lincoln. It's my great privilege to officially convene the 2023 Water for Food Global Conference, Cultivating Innovation, Solutions for a Changing World, here in Lincoln, Nebraska. It's official. Over the past few years, while we have focused on virtual events and smaller in-person events, this is our first in-person global conference since the spring of 2019. We actually had one planned in 2020, but like many such events, we had to cancel that meeting. It is especially fitting that we're convening here on the Nebraska Innovation Campus, the home of the Doherty Water for Food Global Institute. We are also here situated in the midst of a living laboratory, a highly productive agricultural system atop the vast Ogallala Aquifer that President Carter just mentioned, and within the Platte River Valley. As a bit of an aside, just in terms of the history of water in this state, the Platte River is really where the state of Nebraska gets its name. It's Oto and Omaha tribes, the local indigenous people. The name means flat water. I won't try to pronounce the native pronunciation of that, but that's where Nebraska's name comes from. This conference provides a platform to explore our new ideas, look for win-win scenarios to continue to improve the sustainability of agricultural productivity while stewarding our water resources for human and environmental needs. If you've signed up for one of our site tours later this week, you will have an opportunity to see this firsthand. In the meantime, we look forward to hearing from you about your insights, the successes, and ideas from your particular context. As the President mentioned, your vantage point on the world. I would caution that we should not lose sight of what has been achieved. I think one of the issues we see in water management, and particularly in water management for agriculture, is we tend towards the negative. And we really need to be constructive as well and make sure we identify where we are making good progress and where we can learn from those areas of progress. That said, much has changed since our last conference. There is even more pressure on our natural resources. Extreme drought and flooding has impacted many food-producing regions of the world. And there are more people to feed and more conflicts to navigate. Regardless, we're gathered this week to find solutions to those grand challenges, learn from one another, and work toward a shared vision of a food and water-secure world. A collective challenge for us all over the next few days is to use this opportunity to share your ideas and build on all the great work you've been doing to develop new initiatives to accelerate progress towards impact, truly moving the needle in water and food security. The Doherty Water for Food Global Institute was launched in 2010 to pursue research and develop solutions to the global challenge of feeding a growing world population while carefully stewarding our precious water resources. To do this, we leverage the skills and experience of our own staff with more than 130 University of Nebraska faculty fellows, a number of whom are here today, as well as many national and international partners. Collaboratively, we are addressing water and food security through a focused approach on research, policy, education, and communication. You'll hear me say partners a lot because partners are key, and I look around the room, and while there's many faces that have not been at global conference before here in Nebraska, there's many of those faces that are also familiar to me, so it's great to see the partners that we work with around the world actually making the journey here to Nebraska. From local to global, we have Kazakhstan, Indonesia, Brazil, and many others. The participants here represent partners from the universities, producers, water managers, international organizations, companies and entrepreneurs, and many others. Just talking to the producers here in Nebraska, I get scolded for organizing this conference when we do. It's the challenge of fitting it into the agricultural schedule, but also the academic schedule. Everyone is very busy. It's unfortunate that we have to have it at a certain time, but it's getting good weather and an opportunity to experience Nebraska while you're here. There are too many partners to list and of who is in the room, but specifically I would like to acknowledge members of our board and our international advisory panel for their leadership and support. We met with both yesterday and then again last evening, and it's without that leadership, this constant leadership on continuity of leadership in the university and within the state that's been so important to the progress of the Water for Food Institute. I specifically wish to thank the Robert B. Doherty Foundation for their generous support to our institute and to this conference. I would also like to identify others who support the work of the Institute, including the Claire M. Hubbard Foundation, the Ivanhoe Foundation, and the Decker family, and other funding partners. We are very blessed by able to secure many grants from different agencies and organizations. I would specifically like to thank our valued conference sponsoring partners, including Lindsay Corporation, Valmont Industries, and others. Our sponsors share our mission and help us keep registration fees manageable.